Hey there, everybody. I'm back. Last few months have been show season, Christmas season. I got to make the money now in order to make it through January, February, and the beginning of March. I won't have very much for sales then. So the last couple months, I haven't been doing videos. I've been concentrating on production and selling at a bunch of shows. You've seen all the shorts come out there. Anyway, get back into the swing of making videos and stuff, and I figured I would end 22 and start 23 with a shop tour, kind of for me and for everybody else. Kind of like a marker to mark where I'm at with my business and my shop and everything else. We'll see how much I change over the next year. Anyway, my shop is divided into a bunch of different areas. I have, outside of my shop, I have what's called my log deck, where I bring the logs in, process them, and get them ready to make into bowl blanks. I have an actual blank processing area outside as well, where I keep the chainsaws, anything to deal with processing bowl blanks outside. Chainsaws, different gauges I have, I'll show you all that stuff. Different stands I have for putting the logs on, and separate building for storing freshly processed bowl blanks. Then I've got in my shop here where I actually do the work. Then in the house, and might be why I'm single, I have one bedroom set up for drying bowl blanks, both rough turn blanks and squares, big blocks. Also in that room, I do all of my glue ups. I'm working on a bunch of cutting boards right now, and I've got that room also working, using for glue ups. I have another room in my house that is also set up just for finishing bowl blanks. Another small bedroom, only finishing stuff in there. I keep the glue ups and the finish up stuff in there just because it's temperature controlled, it's humidity controlled. If it's hotter than heck in the summer, it's nice in the house. If it's colder than heck in the winter, it's nice in the house. So all my finishes, everything works well out there. Also, I keep my photo booth and my laser engraver in the house as well for taking the pictures of all the blanks and everything. But I figure I'd walk you through my little areas. I know not everybody wants to see a shop tour video, but I want to make a shop tour video, so I want to make one. Anyway, let's go out to the log deck and I'll show you what I got going on out there. Alright, so coming up my driveway, this is where I get most of my logs from tree trimmers. And I just have them, if they're in a dump truck, I just back them in my driveway, have them dump them in my driveway, and then I move them. Like I said, I just picked up probably a month and a half ago. Got some cedar, some flaming box elder, the dog's barking, ambrosia maple, more flaming box elder, regular maple. There's a cherry log buried under there somewhere too. But anyway, I bring them in here in full length, just as a place to put them. Then we come into the concreted area, and I like to cut them into like 4-foot lengths. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, I cut them into 4-foot lengths and put them on pallets to store them under here. I can move a 4-foot length easily myself, so I put them in there on pallets. I keep them underneath tarped plywood, but I leave everything rather open so air can flow through. I don't want critters living in here, but I want to keep the rain off. And I've got black walnut, some oak, that brownish end grained one right there, that's mulberry, more black walnut, spalted maple. I just got a pile of cherry in. Now underneath this tarp is all cherry. I was having a minute there where I was having trouble getting blanks, so I saw someone was selling a face cord of firewood, but it was all cherry, big cherry pieces. So I figured I'd steal that, put it there. I'll still get some good stuff out of it. But anyway, my log deck. I've also got a bench to work on out here. This is where I do all my chainsaw maintenance, anything greasy, oily, weed whacker maintenance, any of that stuff. I don't want all that in my shop. So I got a bench out here I work on. And of course, I keep stickers under the bench for, in case you get that odd tree trimmer shows up with something cool, they'll drop it off for me. But anyway, and there's my dog. But yep, that's my log. That's where I bring the logs. I get them into 4-foot chunks and get them stacked. And I also put anchor seal on them here too. So, all right, next stop, will be the log processing area under this canopy. This is where I process all the logs. All right, out here under this canopy is my log processing area. This is where I bring the logs and turn them into actual bowl blanks. Do all my chainsaw work out here. Again, trying to keep the mess out of the shop. I've only got a 200 square foot shop. Well, 210, something like that. Square foot shop. So it's a small shop, so I have to have everything separated in the different buildings. But so I got a table I set logs on to cut them in half. Rockler jaw horse that I adjusted the jaws on. Come on, finger. There we go. I made some extra jaws for it. I'll take you for a walk over there. And then in that shed is where I store fresh cut bowl blanks for drying or for rough turning, and also where I keep all of the chainsaws and a few odds and ends too for lawn and garden work. Let's go for a walk. All right, as you can see here, it's not that far from my log deck. Like I say, I've only got a half acre here that I work on, but I built a canopy, and you can see it keeps the snow off. That's all I want to do, snow and rain. I bring the logs in here. I usually start on this little bench that I made. This is where I cut them in half. You all know the drill, and I'll do some videos on it, but you split them in half. But anyway, this is where I do that. I also use this Rockler jaw horse, which, holy cow, get one. It's awesome. I did make some new jaws for it. I grabbed some 8-inch C-channel, did an 8-inch by 8-inch square. Now I can grab big round stuff on it, and you can put a ton of force on something with this thing and lock it down. Good and stable. I just leave it out here, put it on concrete pads. And of course I got cans. This is just for these 2 trash cans. They're not for trash. I don't have any scratch in there because I haven't processed anything, but all my cutoffs and stuff go in there, and eventually they go there. Unless somebody wants them for their own burning, then I'll gladly give them away. Into my shed here, there's no lights in here, but this is where I store fresh cut bowl blanks. Again, they're all anchor sealed. I've got 3 shelves of storage, and I've got some bigger pieces that need to be cut into bowl blanks as well. Black walnut little pieces. These will be cool little live edge bowls. Anyway, 2-wheel hand truck from Harbor Freight. It's got pneumatic tires on it. That's what I use to move the 4-foot logs from the log deck over to here. Also, this is where I keep my chainsaws. I do everything electric or cordless. I don't need gas for anything. I have power out here. I'm making 1 cut, maybe 2 cuts, and then I'm done. I'm working on the lathe. But I have different jigs for rounds. You know, 8-inch, 10, 12, 14, 16. I put a little pin in the middle. That's what tells me, you know, that way I can gauge the size of the log. Figure out what kind of blank that I want out of it. I keep my chains out here. Of course, a few lawn and garden things, and my big can hook. Gotta have a big can hook, holy cow. I've also got some canopies in here too, pop-up canopies, my tables for shows, stuff like that. A wagon too that I use sometimes. But like I said, I use electric and cordless chainsaws. Just nothing fancy. Oregon 18-inch and Harbor Freight Special Atlas 18-inch. Absolutely love it. Works great. And I keep my sharpener out here too. I don't want all them sparks in the shop. Sparks in a wood shop, yeah, that equals fire. So anyway, that's my log storage area and log processing setup. So again, this works great. You know, I get to be outside, but I'm out of the sun. It's a good place to be, good place to hang out. So, you know, and I can't beat the view is pretty good for being in the city. Fire pit. I also store some wood in that shed with the green tarp that Molly's walking towards right there. There's blanks in there as well. I got bowl blanks everywhere. All right, let's go in the shop and I'll show you where I actually do the work. All right, so you guys get your bearings in my log processing area, the log deck, and the shop. Just a single car garage built in the 50s, 13 by 20. But anyway, we go in the door. It's bright and sunny and 59.9 degrees in here. I just turned the heat on. Whoop, 60. So it's bright and 60 in here. anyway, this is my shop. Let me put you on the stand and we'll walk around and talk about the different tools I got and why I've got them, where I've got them. Kind of give you a quick walk around so you get a lay of the land. It's kind of a weird shape with this stub wall here. But anyway, let's put you on the stand and we'll walk around and talk about the different tools. All right, we've come in the door. I don't know how to do this, but to do this handy cam style. Come in the door, first thing in my shop is my big Laguna 1412 bandsaw. I love this thing. It's what I use to process all my blanks and the rounds, or trimming anything up, or ripping rough cut wood or anything. I've got a carbide tipped Resaw King blade on here. I've had this blade on here for 2 years and it's still just fine. Well, minus, you know, one broken tooth. Cut a couple of 16 penny nails in a log. So that's what happens. But that's the only tooth I got missing. Again, I can't say enough about this machine. It absolutely rocks. 110 volt. I don't have 220 on here. Everything's 110, and I've only got 120 amp circuit. So I have to be very careful on how I do everything. I've got a bucket full of cutoffs out here that have been cut off with the bandsaw. And my big dust collector hose that runs across the shop to the dust collector when I need it. Above the bandsaw is where I've got a bunch of screws and bolts and stuff. That was in here when I got the shop, so I just left it and used it. My little Craftsman cordless chop saw, 7 1/4 inch, does everything I needed to do. I don't do a lot of big stuff. I don't do anything fancy. I do have a dovetail jig for a handheld router. Haven't used it very much, but I have it. I hang my squares up. Hose reel, 100 foot of air hose. The air compressor is outside. You saw a gray box outside of the shop deck box. I actually got my air compressor and my shop vac out there. And the shop vac hose is right here. That way I don't have to listen to them. Saws and stuff up there. Saws, clamps, levels, more small parts storage. And returners. This is where I store my pen kits. Pen kits, bottle stopper kits, seam ripper, you know, anything that goes with that stuff goes in here. You know, individual pen kits as I'm working on them go in the drawers. I can get like 50 in there. And more small part storage. Harbor Freight workbenches. I've got 2 of these. They're phenomenal. I've had them for 10 years now. I've had this one, but I keep, you know, measuring and marking in one messy, whew, that's ugly, drawer. I'm not going to go through all the drawers. You really don't care. Of course, you got to have a stool because, you know, where am I going to sit and screw around on Facebook? And I store cutoffs underneath these 2 little benches as well. You never know when you're going to need them. Let's spin around. I will back up here. There's the bandsaw. To the right of the bandsaw, I've got a Craftsman 6-inch joiner. I don't use it very often, so I put a little stand on it to put my big belt sander on it. This I do use quite often. It just comes in handy, taking the tenons off. Something you got a scary tenon, I use that to rip the tenon off instead of putting it on the lathe and chucking it across the room. I built a big, giant 4-foot square rolling table, and I inset my router table into it. Just, it's out of the way, it's inset, you don't have to worry about it. Gives you a big work surface. Of course, you can see I got all my cutting board stuff set up. A big box of cherry, big box of black walnut. Pieces out for my next board. It's a nice place to work. For ripping big sheets of plywood and rough stuff, I've got just an old skill saw. 10-inch blade. Works just fine for that stuff. You don't need anything fancy for rough cutting plywood and stuff. Plus, it gives me my big outfeed because I'm a one-man show. Where all the pink foam is, that was my garage door. I walled it off and foamed it off and insulated it so I could keep it warm in here. I usually just run a little electric heater at night, and I keep it on, like, you know, the number 2 setting, which is keeps it about 48 in here. I've got plywood storage and different jig storage. So this is a jig for making rounds. This is a shooting board. This is another jig I have for cutting, resawing lumber. Like I said, another one for rounds. This is for cutting cookies. Just different jigs on here. You know, I got one thing set up for denailing pallet wood, which I haven't done in a long time. Another sheet goods storage. You know, keep my Wen drill press in here. Works fine for what I use it for. As you can see, I got a wire brush on it now for cleaning stuff up. This is just a cabinet that came out of a house. Threw some wheels on it. Actually, another one I got for free. But it's got drawers. I keep my bulk sandpaper in there. I keep drill bits in there. Air compressor stuff in there. My jet drum sander. This thing's phenomenal. That's what I use for all my bowl blanks. And this whole thing is on wheels, so I can wheel it out and use it. Also, my dust collector. Very key for this shop. PowerTech. Amazon special. 512 CFM is, or 537 CFM is what it's supposed to do. 2.5 micron filter bag. Of course, you can see the dust there. It's not perfect, but I have something else to help with that. And we just keep working our way down the benches. I'm going to switch to the stand for the rest of this. All right, give you a little bit better idea how this corner is laid out. Again, this is all on wheels, so everything moves. When I use this, I just wheel this out at an angle. I'm only running, you know, a lot of the times it's little pieces through it. I keep some flammables up there. You know, the brake fluid, stuff for the car, PB blaster, various odds and ends like that. That's my little flammable section there. Alright, I tried the stand, it just didn't work. I can't capture it. So anyway, next to the dust collector, drum sander, everything, I'm kind of working my way counterclockwise around the shop. I have another Harbor Freight bench. This I'm using kind of as a sanding station right now. It's a flex station. Sometimes my little green Harbor Freight lathe goes on here, my mini lathe, for doing pens and stuff. And you can see the tools for doing pens are right behind it. And sandpaper up there. I made a little holder that I can put the reels of sandpaper you get from Woodcraft or Rockler in. That way you can just pull out whatever you need and tear it off. And I keep on, you know, binder clips right under it. That way I don't have to keep hunting for it and pulling pieces off. Also, you gotta have dividers and chisels and stuff, and sandpaper, again, binder clips. Very handy tool in the shop, these freaking binder clips. I keep some of my sandpaper, actually most of my sandpaper, stays in these totes and in this storage thing. You can see I've got it set up for different grits and stuff, 2-inch and 3-inch. I find it's just easiest to put them in there. And of course, a paper towel holder there too. But yeah, that's where I keep my sanding stuff. I keep a light over it so I can see it. And over my sanding station, I've got a light directly over it too. That way I'm not casting a shadow and I can see what I'm doing. Dust collector on a short hose. That pulls a lot of the dust off. And then good old 20-inch box fan with a furnace filter stuck to the back end of it. With that running and the dust collector running, I don't have hardly any dust in the air. So it seems to work well. And I've got 2 of those box fans. One mounted on the ceiling, and this one's kind of like my portable. Wherever I'm at, I'll move it to. If I'm on the big bench, I'll move it there. If it's nice out, I'll open the window and stick this one in the window, get some fresh air blowing in here. Yeah, that's my sanding station slash kind of like a little flex station. And of course, we get over here to the piece de resistance, my lathe. This is where I do most of my work and spend most of my time. You can see I got a shelf above it. Just a Shop Fox W1758. Not a fancy lathe, again 110, but it does the trick. You know, my tools and stuff are out here behind the lathe. Like I say, when this fan isn't here, you can see them. But as you can see, the fan moves really easily. That's why I set it up like this. You know, all my tools and stuff go back there. That way I'm not reaching over the lathe while it's spinning for a tool. It's off to the side. You know, I'm usually standing right here working. You guys are used to seeing it from, you know, this angle. But anyway, different face plates. This one's for twice turn blanks when they're all warped. This is for final removing of tenons. Of course, cold jaws set up on a chuck. My sanding, I use a cheap Harbor Freight drill. Just a 3/8 drill, $17 at Harbor Freight. I beat the living snot out of it. It works fine, but it's got a quick change chuck, and I keep all my sandpapers on their own chuck on magnets on here. So when I want one, I just literally grab it and go and stick it back up on there. I keep my most common used grits right above it, so I'm not walking back and forth. And then also my drill chuck and a few other odds and ends there, and some lumber storage, and I don't even know what's up there. I can't see. My little bandsaw. This is my first bandsaw. I still use it for fine stuff. I keep a small fine blade on it if I need to do any fine work. Works just fine. It's another rolling cart that it's on. And of course, a shelf for more junk. And a big toolbox on another cart full of more junk. More fasteners behind that. I just set my little lathe here. Normally it sits on that sanding station, but that's my little lathe. I use it all the time for pens and stuff, and also I can travel with it as well. It's a little electric heater. This is what I use to heat the shop at night. And as you can see, you know, I spent some time figuring out where the temps are and stuff like that. So that's all I run it at. Just that first setting right there. Big TV. Yay! Anyway, these are going to be charcuterie boards. These are cherry cutoffs. Rough cut cherry. The caps and stuff. They're all dried, ready to go. I was thinking charcuterie boards, but I don't know. I might just cutting board them too. I have no idea. And then I have this station here. This is a Jim Sprague special. For doing my glue blocks onto my bowl blanks. Instead of trying to sit here with a hot glue gun and squeeze out enough glue and get it so it doesn't cure in time, I keep a frying pan, electric skillet full of hot glue. Crank her up to 400, turn her on, let her go. Once the glue's all melted, then I just simply dip my faceplate. Thank you to whoever gave me these faceplates. I still don't know who did. I just dip my faceplate in it, you know, dip it in there, and stick it on the bowl blank. There you go. One bowl blank, hot glued. And then I can take it on and off the lathe. I will do a separate video on the use of my faceplates. But it really helps my production. And of course, a window. That's the window the fan usually goes in the summer. I keep a charging station over here. I have a few different types of batteries. I'd like to get everything on the same, but it is what it is. But my charging station, and then all of my cordless tools, and some of my corded tools go here. Underneath the bench with the faceplates is actually my radial arm saw, which I don't use hardly at all anymore, so I just took it off the bench, and I can use the bench better for glue ups and stuff. My sharpening station, and welding and grinding. This is on a rolling cart, so if I've got to do any welding or grinding, the cart rolls outside, and we do it all outside. I don't do anything like that in here. Sharpening, I use a CBN wheel, so there's almost no sparks there, with the one-way jig for sharpening gouges. Keep sandpaper for my random orbit up here as well. And then I've got a Sears Craftsman table saw, 2-horse, 10-inch. This is my saw for doing fine work. I've got this thing tuned up. This crosscut set lives on it almost 100% of the time. Very rarely use it without it. Unless I'm squaring up the edge of a cutting board, I'll pull it off. But yeah, I have this crosscut set set up just for doing all these cutting board blanks, and put a little blade guard over it too. So when you're sitting here sliding through, you know, and working this, the blade's not. Just safety. Gotta have safety. And proper push block for it too. And a vise on the wall. This comes in handy. You'd be amazed. Anyway, that's my shop. You know, it's 10 or 15 minutes of me just talking and holding the camera. That's the heater I use during the day. In a half an hour, I can have this shop up to 70 degrees with that heater on full blast. Right now, it's just running on the lowest setting, and we're actually still climbing in temp. We're up to 61 degrees now. Also, all jigs for finding centers of bowl blanks and stuff up here too. Keep all that stuff at hand, ready to go, because that's the main thing I do. But anyway, that's a quick walk around of my shop. Now, I'll show you my bowl blank drying room and finishing room. Alright, we're in the house. This is one bedroom. It's set up for drying bowl blanks, both rough turn, twice turn, and actual blanks, and for doing glue ups for cutting boards and stuff. I keep a bunch of different blanks in here. It's where I store a lot of my wood that I want dry and climatized to room temp. You saw in a video, I got these cabinets for free that are in here. They were given me by my brother. He was redoing his kitchen, and I took all the cabinets. I got like 9 cabinets in here. I have a shipping and receiving station. This is where I do all my shipping and my bowl blanks and stuff. Scale, boxes, packing materials. In this cabinet, I keep the rest of my packing materials. Printer and stuff is out in the living room for doing labels. But my little shipping station. And then in the other cabinet, I got some pen blanks and bottle stopper blanks, stickers for if I'm bringing in small boards and stuff, and some more black walnut hidden up there for a special project. No, like I said, I got my shelving set up, different blanks. You know, I got cherry and maple and Siberian elm and cherry and more maple and spalted maple. There's a special story behind this. There'll be a video either January or February. There's a certain anniversary that goes with these that I'll be doing a video on finishing one of these out, and I'll explain. But different blanks I've got going on. A bunch of unspalted maple. Doesn't really sell, so those are just kind of sitting there. And small cutoffs for pen blanks or whatever I need. You know, different cherry, Siberian elm, maple, stuff like that. More maple. Under this cabinet, we have more pen blanks, because you know you can never have enough pen blanks. Apparently, you know, in these cabinets, I don't have much in these cabinets right now. I say it's still new. Actually, I have nothing in them, but stuff will go up there. You know. Yeah, I need a step stool to reach that top shelf because I'm short. But I do all my glue ups on this bench. This is just vinyl floor tiles. I just threw them on there. Nothing sticks to them, and you can beat the heck out of them. But yeah, my glue up goes there, and I also do glue ups here. Some another cutting board I've got going, and also some coasters I'm doing too with some cutoffs. Again, you know, the cutoffs from these pieces are here, and I'm gonna make coasters. So I'm using the cutoffs from my cutoffs to make toasters, or coasters, if that makes any sense. And then I got a pile of them. Cherry, black walnut, 2-inch and 3-inch squares, and of course a puppy. All right, now try not to move too fast. Across the hallway, we have my finishing room. And this is where I do all of the finishing of my blanks, or of my work. See, I got a couple of Siberian elm bowls here, ready for finish. I still got the tenons on, so I have something to hold on to. These cupboards are full of finishing stuff. You know, all my finishing supplies are in these cupboards. Gluing supplies. You know, I keep all that stuff in there. I do a lot of my work on this bench. This is one of my boards that I've got going right now. It's in finish. Again, like I said, I keep, you know, towels and stuff in the cabinets. Just anything you need for finishing is in this room. You know, tape. I've also got some pen kits in here, which I probably should find a different place to store these, but it doesn't matter. And I keep my epoxy and stuff in here as well. But yeah, this is my finishing room. This is where they get pretty. You know, just a small bedroom. But I can do anything I want here. I picked this room because it's got 2 windows. Window there and a window there. So I can put a fan in one window if I'm doing something stinky and air this room out and not freeze the entire house in the winter or cook the house in the summer. I can also isolate the heat in here too, and I have the cold air return blocked off so it's not sucking fumes through the house. Again, I've got more space here to put things. You know, a small airbrush compressor I've had forever. More shelving. That's my photo booth stuff. It's just the foam poster board for doing like things at fairs. I just set it up. I'll show you where I set that stuff up. All right, we're out here in my dining room. Again, there's a reason I'm single. I keep my laser engraver stuff out here. I've got a hose on it with a fan, and I built a little insert for my window. So I just stick that in the window and close the window. Stick the vent for the laser printer out it. That way I'm not stinking up the house. But I do my laser engraving out here. Cabinet right next to it. I keep all of the laser engraving stuff. So that's where all that happens, is in that cabinet. That's where I keep it all. And again, like I said, I do all my laser engraving out here. I built a little riser because no one wants to work real low. This is comfortable height for me to work on that. More blank storage, and this is where I set blanks sometimes when I need to. Printer's also out here. Computer, blank storage everywhere. You know, all those blanks are for sale. You know, those are all up on my Etsy store. But anyway, that's my little area for that in my dining room. All right, I hope you enjoyed that shop tour. I know, sorry, there's a lot of me walking around with the camera in my hand. I couldn't really do much for stands or anything like that. I was moving around too much, and I don't have the equipment for it, and it wasn't working. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. There'll be actual videos coming soon. Like I say, I'm getting back into the swing of video making now that sale season's done. Christmas season is pretty much done for me. I do have stuff for sale on my Etsy store. But anyway, this is my operation. This is my setup. This is where I live. Anyway, I keep saying anyway. What is with the word anyway? Anyway. Oh well. So, keep watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like I say, there'll be a lot more videos coming. We're gonna do a video on, you know, how I process logs in my log deck. We're gonna do a video on rough turning blanks. We're gonna do videos on, of course, finish turning all over the place. I'll do something on my cutting boards on what I'm doing there. I got all kinds of ideas, so stay tuned. It's gonna be a fun 2023.